Hello, my friend. If you're hearing my voice right now, it's likely the middle of the night. Perhaps it's 3 in the morning, or maybe 4. The house is quiet. The world is dark, and you're awake. I want you to know something important. You are not alone in this. So many of us wake in these quiet hours. It's natural. It's your body checking in, making sure you're safe. And you are safe. Right here, right now, you are completely safe. The world is turning without your help. The house is resting around you. And for the next little while, you don't have to solve anything, fix anything, or figure anything out. You only have to listen. Tonight, instead of lying there in the darkness, worrying about sleep that won't come, I'm going to take you somewhere special, somewhere warm, somewhere filled with love and memory and the smell of baking. We're going to your grandmother's kitchen, and we're going to bake. But first, let's help your body remember how to rest. Take a gentle breath in through your nose. Hold it for just a moment and let it go slowly through your mouth. Good. Your eyes are gently closed. There's nothing you need to see right now. Just my voice. Just the story. Just the quiet. Feel your body against the mattress. Heavy. Supported. Safe. Your legs are heavy. Your arms are heavy. Your whole body is beginning to remember what rest feels like. There's no urgency here, no rush. We have all the time we need. And now, when you're ready, imagine yourself getting out of bed. Not in your real bedroom, but in the bedroom of memory. The bedroom of your childhood, perhaps, or a place you once knew and loved. Your feet touch the floor. It's cool, but not cold. Comfortable. You stand slowly, gently, and you make your way through the quiet house toward the kitchen. Grandmother's kitchen. The hallway is dark, but you know this path by heart. Your hand trails along the wall as you walk. The paint is smooth and cool under your fingertips. You pass photographs on the wall, though you can barely see them in the darkness. But you know they're there. Faces you've loved, moments captured and kept. The floorboards creak softly under your feet. A familiar sound, a comforting sound. Somewhere, a clock is ticking. Steady, reliable, measuring time in the darkness. You're not worried about waking anyone. This is your time, your quiet hour, your moment of peace At the end of the hallway, you see it, a sliver of light under the kitchen door, almost as if someone knew you were coming, almost as if someone left a light on, just for you. You reach for the doorknob. It's smooth, worn by thousands of hands over the years, cool brass that's warm to the touch. You turn it slowly, and you push the door open. The kitchen welcomes you like an old friend. It's exactly as you remember it, or perhaps exactly as you wish it could be. The light is soft and golden, coming from a small lamp over the sink. Not too bright, just enough to see by, enough to feel safe, enough to feel held. The room is warm. Someone has left the oven on low, and the heat radiates gently, taking the chill off the night air, taking the chill off your heart too, perhaps. You step inside and close the door softly behind you. The floor under your feet is linoleum, patterned with small flowers, yellow and white, faded now, but still cheerful, still speaking of days when this kitchen was the heart of the home, when families gathered here, when life happened here. You can almost see them. The ghosts of breakfasts past, the echo of laughter, the shadow of grandmother standing at the stove, humming softly to herself as she cooked. The counters are made of pale yellow formica, edged with chrome that gleams softly in the lamplight. Clean, cared for, ready, waiting for hands that know how to work here. Your hands. Against one wall stands the stove. Old, reliable, the kind with real burners and heavy grates. White enamel with black trim. 4 burners that have cooked 1,000 meals. An oven that has baked 1,000 loaves. 1,000 cakes. 1,000 batches of cookies. You touch the oven door. It's slightly warm. Someone has been here before you. Or perhaps this kitchen exists outside of time. Always warm, always ready, always waiting for someone who needs it. The refrigerator stands in the corner. White, rounded edges, the kind from the 50s that never breaks. It hums quietly, contentedly. A gentle, steady sound. The sound of home, the sound of things working as they should. Above the sink, a small window looks out into the night. You can see your reflection in the glass, faint and ghostly. But you can also see, if you look carefully, the first hint that night won't last forever. That dawn is coming, eventually. That morning always comes. On the counter beside the sink sits a ceramic cookie jar, round and plump, painted with red apples. Shiny red apples with green leaves. The paint is worn in places where hands have touched it, reached for it, opened it. You remember this jar. You remember reaching for it as a child, standing on tiptoe, hoping there would be cookies inside. There usually were. Grandmother always kept it filled. For you. For visitors. For anyone who needed something sweet. On the wall above the table hangs a wooden clock, the kind with a pendulum that swings back and forth, visible through a small glass window in its face. It ticks, steady and sure. The sound joins the hum of the refrigerator, the crackle of warmth from the oven, the symphony of a kitchen at rest. The walls are painted a soft cream color, On them hang small decorations, a calendar from a year long past, but nobody's bothered to take it down. A small wooden plaque that reads, "Bless this kitchen." A framed embroidery of a teapot and flowers, probably made by grandmother's own hands decades ago. And there, on the small kitchen table with its chrome legs and yellow vinyl chairs, you see it. A recipe card, handwritten, in a script you would know anywhere. Grandmother's handwriting. You move closer to the table, slowly, as if approaching something sacred. And perhaps it is sacred in its way. The table is small, room for 4 people, maybe 5 if you squeeze. The chairs have metal legs that end in small rubber feet. The vinyl seats are cracked here and there, showing the foam underneath, but they're still comfortable, still good. You remember sitting in these chairs as a child, swinging your legs because your feet didn't touch the floor. As a teenager, slumped and sulking over some forgotten drama. As an adult, visiting, trying to pack a lifetime of conversation into an afternoon. You pull out one of the chairs. It scrapes softly against the linoleum. You sit. The table is covered with a vinyl tablecloth, yellow, cheerful, easy to wipe clean. In the center sits a small sugar bowl and a cream pitcher, white ceramic with tiny blue flowers, and the recipe card. You reach for it, your hand moving slowly, carefully. You pick it up. It's old, cream-colored, turned slightly tan at the edges from age and handling, and probably a bit of butter from previous bakings. The paper is thick, substantial, the kind they don't make anymore, the kind that lasts. The handwriting is in blue ink, faded but still clear. Loops and swirls, letters formed carefully, precisely. The careful script of someone who learned penmanship in a different era, who was taught that how you wrote was as important as what you wrote. This is her hand, her actual hand, holding a pen, forming these letters, pressing them onto paper so that someday someone like you would be able to read them. At the top, in slightly larger letters, it reads, "Grandmother's sugar cookies, the recipe that always works." And underneath, in smaller writing, "For when you need comfort, for when you need home." You feel your throat tighten, your eyes sting slightly. When did she write this? Did she know, somehow, that you would need it? Did she know there would be a night like this, years after she was gone, when you would wake at 3 in the morning, feeling lost and alone? Did she know you would find your way here, to this kitchen, to this recipe, to this connection across time? Perhaps she did. Perhaps that's what recipes are, really. Messages, love letters, hands reaching across the years saying, "I was here, I cared. This is what I know. This is what I can give you." You trace the words with your finger, gently. This is her voice, preserved, her care made tangible, her love written down so it could never be forgotten. The recipe itself is simple: flour, sugar, butter, eggs, vanilla, a pinch of salt, a bit of baking powder, measurements in cups and teaspoons, instructions in her words, not formal recipe language, but the way she would have told you if you were standing beside her in this very kitchen. Cream the butter and sugar until light. Your arm will get tired, but keep going. That's where the tenderness comes from. Add the eggs one at a time. Tell them they're welcome. The dough will be soft. Don't worry. It knows what it's doing. At the bottom of the card, a small note. These taste like love. That's the secret ingredient. You smile, even in the darkness, even in the middle of the night, even with sleep so far away. You're going to make these cookies. You set the recipe card carefully against the cookie jar where you can see it easily, and you begin. First, you wash your hands at the sink. It's important to start clean, to start right. This is what grandmother would have done. You turn on the tap. The water runs cool at first, then gradually warms. You pump soap from the dispenser beside the sink. But no, wait, there's no dispenser here. There's a bar of soap instead, sitting in a ceramic dish. White ceramic with a pattern of ivy around the rim. The soap is pale pink, oval-shaped, worn smooth in the middle where hands have held it. It smells of lavender and something else, something herbal, something that smells like memory, like grandmother's hands, like safety. You lather your hands thoroughly, working the soap between your fingers, around your wrists. You rinse them in the warm water, watching the soap swirl down the drain. You dry your hands on a kitchen towel that hangs from the oven door handle, red and white checked, soft cotton, worn thin in the middle from years of use, but still good, still useful, still doing its job. Your hands are clean now, ready. Now, the ingredients. You open the cupboard above the counter. The door creaks slightly, a familiar sound. The hinges need oil. Probably have needed oil for 20 years, but nobody's fixed them because the creak is familiar. It's part of the kitchen's voice. Inside, everything is organized, labeled, ready. Glass canisters in a row, boxes and bags arranged neatly. Everything in its place because grandmother believed in order, in knowing where things are, in being prepared. You take down the flour in a large canister with a red lid, heavy, full. The glass is thick, old, the kind that lasts forever. Through the glass, you can see the flour, white and fine, waiting to be transformed. You set it on the counter with a soft thump. Solid. Real. Present. The sugar in a matching canister with a blue lid. The white grains shift and whisper inside as you move it. Like snow, like sand, like tiny crystals of sweetness. Vanilla extract in a small brown bottle. The label is handwritten, not printed. Someone wrote vanilla in careful letters. The bottle is old, perhaps older than you. Perhaps grandmother refilled it from a larger bottle, year after year. The vanilla never running out, because it was always replenished. Salt in a small ceramic dish with a tiny wooden spoon. Just a pinch, the recipe says. Salt makes sweetness sweeter. Grandmother told you that once. You didn't understand it then. You understand it now. Baking powder in a tin with faded lettering. The tin is dented slightly on one side, bent from being dropped perhaps, or pressed against other things in the cupboard. But it still works. The baking powder inside is still good, fresh, ready to make things rise. You gather them all, placing them in a row on the counter. An assembly, a collection of simple things that will become something more, something nourishing, something made with love. Now, the refrigerator. You walk across the kitchen. Your feet know the way. 5 steps from the counter to the refrigerator. The same 5 steps grandmother took thousands of times, over decades. You open the refrigerator door, and it releases with a soft, sucking sound as the seal breaks. The light inside seems too bright after the gentle dimness of the kitchen. You squint slightly, letting your eyes adjust. Inside, everything is orderly, everything in its place. This is not a cluttered, overflowing, modern refrigerator. This is a refrigerator from a time when people kept less, wasted nothing, knew exactly what they had. On the top shelf, a glass bottle of milk, real milk, delivered in a glass bottle with a paper cap. The cream has risen to the top, forming a distinct layer. You'll need to shake it before using it, but you won't need much. Just a splash if the dough seems too dry. On the middle shelf, butter, wrapped in waxed paper, not plastic, cold and firm. Real butter, the kind that comes from cows, from cream, from churning, yellow as sunshine, rich with flavor. You take it out. It's solid, hard from the cold, but it will soften. Everything softens with time and patience. Beside the butter, a small bowl with eggs. White eggs, smooth and perfect. Clean. You take 2. They feel cool in your palm. Heavy, full of potential. Each one a small miracle when you think about it. You close the refrigerator door, and the kitchen returns to its comfortable dimness. The bright light is gone, and your eyes are grateful. Everything is here. Everything you need. Flour and sugar and butter and eggs. Simple things, basic things. The things that have sustained humans for centuries, that have made us feel human, that have brought us together around tables and taught us that making food for each other is an act of love. Everything is ready. Everything is waiting. It's time to begin the real work. You unwrap the butter and place it in a large mixing bowl. The bowl is pale green ceramic, heavy and cool in your hands. You recognize this bowl. Grandmother mixed everything in this bowl. You set it aside to let the butter soften while you prepare the other things. From the drawer beside the sink, you take out the measuring cups. Metal ones, old, the measurements worn almost smooth from years of use. But you can still read them. 1 cup, half cup, 1/3, 1/4. Measuring spoons on a ring. Tablespoon, teaspoon, half teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon. Each one specific, each one necessary. A wooden spoon, its handle worn smooth and dark from use, from grandmother's hand holding it, from your hand holding it now. You take down a large bowl for mixing, a sifter for the flour, a small bowl for beating the eggs. Everything has its purpose. Everything has its place. You're not hurrying. There's no need to hurry. The night is long. The kitchen is warm. And you have this work to do. This good work. This work that will fill the house with the smell of sugar and vanilla and make you feel, for a little while, that everything is as it should be. You measure the flour first, scooping it from the canister, leveling it with a knife. The flour is soft, fine as powder, white as snow. You sift it into a bowl, watching it fall like a gentle snowfall, breaking up any lumps, making it light and airy. 3 cups. That's what the recipe calls for. You measure the sugar next. White sugar, granulated, that makes a soft sound as it pours. 1.5 cups. You're moving slowly, deliberately, measuring carefully. This is not a time for rushing. This is a time for doing things right, for taking care, for paying attention. The butter has softened now. When you press it with your finger, it yields, but doesn't melt. Perfect. You add the sugar to the butter in the large green bowl. And now, the work begins. You take the wooden spoon and begin to cream them together. At first, it's difficult. The butter is resistant. The sugar wants to stay separate. But you keep working, pressing the spoon against the side of the bowl, folding and pressing, folding and pressing. The recipe said your arm would get tired. Grandmother was right. But you keep going. And gradually, something happens. The butter and sugar begin to blend. The color lightens from yellow to pale cream. The texture changes from grainy to smooth. Air is being incorporated, making it fluffy, making it light. This is where the tenderness comes from, Grandmother said. From the work, from the care, from the effort you put in. You keep mixing. Your arm is tired, but it's a good tired. The tired that comes from doing something real, something physical, something that will become something nourishing. The butter and sugar are pale now, almost white, fluffy, light, perfect. You set down the spoon and rest for a moment, looking at what you've created. This simple mixture that will become the base for everything else. The eggs are still in their small bowl on the counter. You take one and crack it against the edge of the green bowl. The shell breaks cleanly, and the egg slides out, golden yolk surrounded by clear white. Add the eggs one at a time, Grandmother's recipe says. Tell them they're welcome. You smile at this. You say softly to the egg, to the kitchen, to the night, you're welcome here. And you stir it in with the wooden spoon. The mixture changes again. The egg blends in, making the batter more liquid, more cohesive. Yellow and white swirling together, becoming one. When the first egg is fully incorporated, you add the second. Again, you crack it gently. Again, it slides into the bowl. You're welcome, you say again, softly, and you stir. The batter is smooth now, rich and creamy. It looks like sunshine. It looks like mornings. It looks like everything good. You pick up the small brown bottle of vanilla extract and unscrew the cap. The smell hits you immediately, sweet rich, complex. The smell of 1,000 cookies baked in this kitchen. The smell of birthday cakes and Christmas mornings and Tuesday afternoons when grandmother decided to make something special just because. You measure out 1 teaspoon, tilting the bottle carefully. The liquid is dark brown, almost black. A drop falls into the batter, then another, then the full measure. You put the cap back on and set the bottle aside. And you stir the vanilla in, watching as it disappears into the batter, invisible now, but you know it's there. You can smell it, that warm, sweet, comforting smell that makes everything better. Now comes the flour mixture. You add it slowly, bit by bit, stirring gently. The recipe says, don't overwork it, just bring it together. The dough knows what to do. You fold the flour in, watching as the batter becomes thicker, becomes dough. The wooden spoon moves more slowly now, the dough offering resistance. You add more flour. Stir. Add more. Stir. The dough is coming together, pulling away from the sides of the bowl, forming a soft, cohesive mass. You add the last of the flour and stir until just combined. The dough is pale yellow, soft, slightly sticky to the touch. It looks right. It feels right. It is right. The dough will be soft, the recipe card says. Don't worry. It knows what it's doing. You trust it. You trust grandmother. You trust the recipe that has worked 100 times, 1,000 times. The dough is ready. You dust the counter with flour, a white cloud that settles and spreads. You turn the dough out onto it, and it lands with a soft plop, yielding and ready. You dust your hands with flour, too, so the dough won't stick to your fingers. From the drawer, you take out the rolling pin. Wooden, smooth, heavy. The handle's worn to fit hands perfectly. Grandmother's hands, your hands now. You begin to roll. The dough spreads under the pin, flattening, widening. You roll gently, evenly, trying to make it the same thickness all over. About 1/4 inch, the recipe says. Thick enough to be tender, thin enough to bake evenly. The dough is beautiful, smooth and pale, flecked here and there with tiny bits of vanilla. When it's rolled out, you reach for the cookie cutters. They're in a tin on the shelf. Old metal cutters, some rusty at the edges, but clean and ready. A star, a heart, a circle, a flower. You press the star into the dough. It cuts through cleanly, and when you lift the cutter, the star shape remains, perfect and waiting. You press out another and another. Stars and hearts and circles and flowers. The cut cookies you transfer carefully to a baking sheet, one that's been lightly greased and waiting. You gather the scraps of dough, press them together, roll them out again, and cut more cookies. Nothing is wasted. Everything is used. Everything becomes part of the whole. The oven is already warm, remember? Waiting. Ready. You check it one more time, just to be sure. You open the door and feel the heat roll out, warming your face, bringing color to your cheeks. The temperature feels right. Not too hot, not too cool. Perfect. You close the door and pick up the baking sheet, heavy with cookies, stars and hearts and circles and flowers, each one shaped with care, each one ready to be transformed. You open the oven door again and slide the baking sheet inside, onto the middle rack where the heat is most even. The metal sheet makes a soft scraping sound against the oven rack. The heat rolls out again, and you feel it on your hands, your arms, your face. You close the door gently, carefully, respectfully even. The recipe says 10 to 12 minutes. Not long, but long enough. You set the timer on the stove, the old mechanical kind, with a dial you turn. It makes a satisfying clicking sound as you set it, then begins to tick audibly, counting down, measuring time, marking the moments. Tick, tick, tick. Now, you wait. But it's a good waiting, a patient waiting, a waiting that's part of the work, not separate from it. You turn to the sink and begin to clean up. This too is part of baking, the cleaning, the putting things right. Grandmother always said, clean as you go. Don't leave a mess for later. You wash the large green bowl in warm, soapy water, the bowl that held the butter and sugar, the eggs and vanilla, the dough that will become cookies. You wash it thoroughly, rinse it, set it in the dish rack to dry. You wash the wooden spoon, feeling the smooth wood under your fingers. How many times has this spoon been washed? How many thousands of times? And yet it's still good, still strong, still useful. You wash the measuring cups and spoons, each one carefully, paying attention. This is meditation, this washing, this mindful attention to simple tasks. You wipe the counter with a damp cloth, gathering up the flour that's scattered there. You wipe the counter where you rolled the dough. You wipe the table where you sat and read the recipe card. The kitchen is clean now, orderly, at peace. The oven hums quietly. Inside, the cookies are beginning their transformation. The butter is melting. The sugar is beginning to caramelize. The baking powder is releasing tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide, making the cookies rise, making them light. Chemistry, magic, love, all three at once. You can smell it now, the first hints of the smell. Butter, sugar, vanilla, beginning to blend, beginning to become that unmistakable scent that can only be described as cookies baking. It's a smell that reaches deep into memory, into childhood, into all the times you smelled this smell and felt safe, felt loved, felt home. You sit at the small table again in one of the yellow vinyl chairs. You can see the oven from here. You can watch as the cookies bake. Through the oven door's window, you can see them, small shapes on the metal sheet, beginning to puff slightly, beginning to change color at the edges, from pale yellow to the slightest hint of gold. The timer ticks, the oven hums, the clock on the wall ticks in counterpoint. Time is passing, but slowly, gently, without urgency. You close your eyes for just a moment, breathing in the smell, letting it fill you, letting it fill the empty spaces, letting it remind you that you are connected to something larger than yourself, to a grandmother who loved you, to a tradition of people feeding each other, to the simple act of making something with your own hands. This is peace. This is comfort. This is what you needed, even if you didn't know it when you woke at 3 a.m, restless and unable to sleep, unable to turn off your mind, unable to stop worrying about all the things you worry about in the dark hours. You needed this creation, this connection to something larger than yourself, this reaching back through time to touch your grandmother's hand, to hear her voice in a recipe, to feel her love in the work of your own hands. The smell grows stronger, richer, more complex. The butter and sugar are caramelizing now, creating that golden color, that rich flavor. The vanilla is blooming in the heat, releasing its perfume. The kitchen is filling with warmth. Not just the warmth of the oven, but something else. The warmth of presence, of memory, of love made tangible. You open your eyes and look at the oven again. The cookies are golden now. Perfect. Ready. The timer hasn't rung yet, but you can tell. You can see. Some things you know, not by time, but by sight, by smell, by instinct. You stand and move to the oven. You turn off the timer just before it can ring, stopping its ticking, silencing it. You open the oven door. The smell that rushes out is overwhelming in the best possible way. Pure, perfect. The smell of sugar and butter and vanilla and love. The cookies are beautiful, golden at the edges, still soft in the middle, perfect in their imperfection. Each one slightly different, each one made by hand, each one proof that you were here, that you did this, that you made something. You take a pot holder from the drawer beside the stove, faded, quilted, made by hand probably. You use it to pull out the baking sheet. The sheet is hot, heavy. You set it carefully on the cooling rack that's waiting on the counter. The cookies sit there, still baking slightly from their own heat, settling into their final form. Let them cool for a minute, the recipe says, but not too long. They're best when they're still warm. So you wait. 1 minute. You count it in your head. 60 seconds. One breath at a time. 2 minutes. The cookies are still hot, but touchable now. Time. It's time. You take one. A star-shaped cookie, still warm, the edges crispy, the middle tender. You break it in half. Steam rises. The inside is pale and soft. You take a bite. Oh, this. The cookie is perfect. Sweet, but not too sweet. Buttery, tender, with that hint of vanilla that makes everything right. It tastes like childhood, like Saturday mornings, like being loved without condition, like being safe. It tastes, as grandmother's note said, like love. That was the secret ingredient all along. Love. You eat your cookie slowly, savoring every bite. The kitchen is warm. The work is done. The house smells like baking. Outside the window above the sink, you notice something. The darkness is not quite as dark as it was. There's a hint of gray at the edge of the sky, the faintest suggestion of light. Dawn is coming. Not here yet, but coming. The world is turning toward morning, as it always does, as it always will. You've been here in this kitchen for an hour, maybe more. Time has been soft here, flexible, unimportant. But now you feel it. That gentle pull toward rest, toward sleep. The work has done what work does. It has quieted your mind. It has given your hands something to do, your body something to focus on. It has connected you to something larger, something loving, something permanent. You feel tired now, but it's a good tired, a satisfied tired, the tired that comes after you've made something, created something, done something real. You turn off the oven. You turn off the lamp over the sink, leaving just the small light by the door. You take one more cookie for the journey back to bed, and you leave the rest on the counter, arranged on a plate, a gift for yourself when you wake in the morning, for whoever needs them next. You walk back through the quiet house, through the hallway with its photographs you can't quite see, past the ticking clock that's still measuring time faithfully in the darkness, back to your bedroom, your bed, your pillow. You slip under the covers. They're still warm from your body, still comfortable, still waiting. You pull the blanket up to your chin. You take a bite of the cookie you brought with you. Sweet, perfect, comforting. You can still smell the vanilla on your hands. You can still feel the warmth of the kitchen. You can still hear grandmother's voice in your mind, the recipe that always works for when you need comfort, for when you need home. You have found both tonight, comfort and home, in a kitchen that exists somewhere between memory and dream, in work done slowly and with care, in a recipe written in a hand you would know anywhere. Your body is heavy now, truly heavy, truly ready for rest. Your breathing is slow, steady, deep. The world is lightening outside, but you don't need to see it. You can feel it, the promise of morning, the promise of a new day. But for now, sleep. Finally, sleep. The kitchen will be there if you need it again. The recipe card will be waiting. The ingredients will be ready. The oven will be warm. Grandmother's kitchen never closes. Not really. It exists outside of time, in that place where love lives, where memory lives, where we can always return when we need comfort. You did good work tonight. You made something. You connected to something larger. You remembered that you are not alone, that you have never been alone, that there are hands that reached out to you through time and taught you how to make cookies tastes like love. Sleep now. Rest now. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. The cookies will be there when you wake, and so will the morning. Good night, my friend, or good morning, whichever comes first. Rest well.